Sports lawyer Anna Anselievich said that Russia could keep the gold of the Olympic team tournament if Kamila Valieva is disqualified. Earlier, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, called on the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, to suspend the figure skater for 4 years and cancel her results at the Beijing Winter Games. Automatic cancellation of medals occurs at those competitions where a positive sample was taken. Yes, in theory, all results from the moment of this test should be cancelled with the exception of the principle of justice. There is a clause in the code unless the principle of justice requires otherwise. If Valieva proves that in her case, the principle of fairness requires that the results not be annulled, then Russia will keep the medal. All factors will be taken into account, the fact that all the other samples of Kamila were clean, and the concentration of a prohibited substance, how much it could affect the result at the Olympics. The fact that the Stockholm laboratory published the results of Valieva's doping test 1.5 months after the sample was taken will also be taken into account. This is a lengthy period. Results must be reported 10 days after the sample has been received by the laboratory. The Stockholm laboratory and Rosetta explained that many reasons overlapped: another wave of coronavirus in Europe, problems with transportation during the Christmas period, busy laboratories before the Olympics, because many countries intensively tested their athletes before the Games. Nevertheless, this can also be interpreted as a violation of the principle of justice, all the more so its wording is vague. I think that this will be announced by the defense side. The cancellation of the results in relation to the rest of the members of the Russian team will be unfair. If the leadership of the Federation and the ROC had learned about the positive test in time, they would have replaced Kamila with another athlete, since we have such competition in women's singles that it would be easy enough to find an equivalent replacement, Anselievich said. Olympic champion, 6-time world and European champion Alexander Gorshkov died at the age of 77. He headed the Russian Figure Skating Federation for 12 years. Under him, this sport has become one of the most successful in the country, giving rise to a whole generation of champions. The death of the Olympic champion became known on the morning of November 17. According to Izvestia, Gorshkov felt unwell on the evening of November 16 and was urgently taken to intensive care with acute myocardial infarction. It was not possible to save his life. The press service of the FFKKR reported that Gorshkov suddenly died and that he always took everything to heart. The president of the All-Russian Federation of Rhythmic Gymnastics, Irina Viner, suggested that Gorshkova could be very upset by the situation with Kamila Valieva, whose doping case was referred to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CS. Alexander Gorshkov was a great sportsman. His dance duet with Lyudmila Pomova is a couple for all time. Alexander Georgievich headed our figure skating federation for a very long time. I saw him just a few days ago at the celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Federal Medical and Biological Agency. This is a huge loss for national figure skating and our entire sport. I want to express my condolences. I think that the final decision on Valieva turned out to be the last straw, although it is not yet final, TASS quotes Viner. Alexander Gorshkov agreed to team up with the USSR champion Lyudmila Pomova, when he himself was not even a master of sports. The girl herself offered him cooperation when she was going through difficult times in her career after breaking up with her previous partner. She said that we won't have a coach yet, I'm leaving CSKA, we'll ask to be allowed on the ice, think about it, Gorshkov recalled. Young people coped with all the difficulties, attracted the attention of the great coach Elena Tchaikovskaya, and already under her leadership they became 6-time European and world champions. This achievement was no longer submitted to anyone in ice dancing. This is how Gorshkov got into the Guinness Book of Records. Moreover, the future president of the FFKKR became the first ever Olympic champion in ice dancing. In 1976, this discipline of figure skating was included in the program of the Olympic Games for the first time, and the pair of Pomova and Gorshkov confidently won gold. Gorshkov and Pomova developed a unique style of skating, inventing many new elements, steps and lifts. The Soviet couple captivated the foreign audience with emotional performances under Along the St. Petersburg and Naughty Chastersky, while other duets preferred classical music and academic performance. The plasticity and sensuality in each movement made Gorshkov and Pomova stand out from the rest of the couples, who were mainly focused on the correct performance of the required elements. Their number was several dozen, and cared much less about creating a performance on ice. In 1973, the couple prepared their famous Comparsita tango number. This program impressed the judges and the whole world of figure skating so much that the tango romance became a mandatory dance in all competitions and kept this status until the 2010-11 season, until the mandatory dance was cancelled. In Gorshkov's career, in addition to medals and victories, there were many difficulties. One of the most embarrassing incidents occurred at the 1972 World Championships in Vancouver. After the mandatory part of the program, the athlete and his partner woke up at night with the same symptoms, both turned inside out. At the same time, at dinner, they ate different dishes, and Pomova barely touched the food at all. "There is an assumption that one of the competitors tried to poison us," Gorshkov said. "But not caught, not a thief." The doctor diagnosed the champions with acute food poisoning. Athletes barely survived the night, the stomach hurt, the temperature rose. In training, both suffered from shortness of breath. Despite this, the skaters managed to win the free dance and become world champions. "I will never forget this performance. I remember every step I took, it was so hard for me," Gorshkov admitted. And in 1975, after the European Championships in Copenhagen, the athlete felt severe chest pain, as if something had clicked inside. Subsequently, it turned out that it was a branch of the pulmonary artery that burst, and blood began to flow into the pleural cavity, said the champion. However, the doctors at first made the wrong diagnosis and only 3 days later discovered that the entire left lung of the athlete was filled with blood. Gorshkov underwent an emergency operation that saved his life. After finishing his career, Gorshkov worked as a coach from 1977 to 1992, and then decided to try himself as a sports official and moved to the International Relations Department of the Russian Olympic Committee, ROC. He was a member of the ROC Executive Committee, then vice president of the Moscow Figure Skating Federation, and in 2010 became the head of the Russian Figure Skating Federation. Under him as president, there was a boom in the development of women's single skating, and Russian athletes successfully performed at 3 Olympics, in Sochi, Pyeongchang, and Beijing. In Sochi 2014, figure skaters brought 3 gold medals to Russia. Adelina Sotnikova became the champion in women's singles, Tatyana Volososher and Maxim Trankov in doubles, and the national team won the team tournament. In addition, Ksenia Stolbova and Fedor Klimov won silver in the pairs competition, and Elena Ilyanik and Nikita Kotsalapov won bronze in ice dancing. In Pyeongchang 2018, domestic skaters won 1 gold and 2 silver. Alina Zagatova won the women's singles, Evgenia Medvedeva came second, and the national team took silver in the team tournament. In Beijing 2022, the Russian team showed the best result in terms of the number of medals under Gorshkov, 6. Athletes won the team tournament. Gold in the women's singles was won by Anna Shkrbakova, silver, Alexandra Trusova. In pair skating, silver and bronze were taken by Evgenia Tarasova, Vladimir Morozov and Anastasia Messina, Alexander Galiamov, respectively. In ice dancing, Victoria Sinitsina and Nikita Kotsalapov came second. After the death of Gorshkov, either the general director of the federation, Alexander Kogan, or one of the vice presidents of the federation, Anton Sikharulidze, Vladimir Gribanov, Vera Bogush, Irina Raber, or Sergei Kononikin, will become acting head of the FFKKR. The new president will be elected at the next meeting of the FFKKR conference.